All right, there we go. Think we're good. Welcome to our next stream for anyone who's watching offline. Today we are going to be working on some environmental concept art for my story When It Rains. This was what was voted on, so that's what we're going to be doing. If I get tired of that for a bit, we could, depending on how much time we have left, we might do a game at the end of the stream. Maybe. I have a couple new ones that could be fun to play. Without further ado, I think we'll get started. As soon as I find my pen. Yes. There we go. Cool. Pen time. I feel like I made slight mistake in not grabbing myself a glass of water. We'll get to it when we need it. I can always take a small break later and just grab some water. It's been a little bit since, not too long, but a little bit since I've worked on When It Rains environments, so let me just quickly brush up on some of my sketchbook stuff that I have, at least in this one. Could either work on the rolling rocky hills. These are boulders that have that look like they have holes punched through them, when in actuality there was just like a bunch of water slowly eroding away. I think I also need a different, like a creature for that one. Some sort of creature to be eating away at the stone or digging at the middle of it to give reason for why there would be like all of these boulders with a bunch of holes just straight through them. And then I also have another environment called the Twisty Trees. This one is where the trees are growing so close together and they're fighting for space and sunlight, so they're like intertwining with each other. So anything inside the trees are either big leafed or don't rely on as much photosynthesis. Or we could come up with a new environment. That could be fun too. I know I want like a more stream environment, kind of wetlands with long grasses, flowers, and willow trees dotted around. Willow trees are going to be a very big tree for this show. Those ones will be very important to include. Do I have anything else related to environments here? I don't think so. I mostly just have studies. I'm just flipping through the sketchbook. I think I mostly just have studies or doodles, or I don't think I have anything else. Hello, welcome. I'm currently trying to decide what we should work on for the environment. If we should work on something completely new, or if I should further develop some of the ideas I already had. Choices. We have so many choices. Maybe to get us in the mood, we should continue work on some of the environments I already have semi-planned out. And then we can move over to Pinterest and Google to research some other environments that we could potentially do. Sound like a plan? Alright, thinking I have a good amount of work done for the twisty trees, or at least more thought into it. So let's do the rocky rolly hills. I don't think I have any pictures that I can show you guys of my sketchbook. So I'll just work on it, and you can trust that I'm working off something else. Going, by the way. Haven't asked that yet. Hopefully it's been going well. My day's been going pretty good. I had an interview today, and I think that went pretty well. Hopefully she emails me. I think it'll be a good, intriguing job. Okay, so for these rocky rolly hills, I'll just draw the basic shape so you guys have an idea of what these things look like. So this punch out with like moss and perhaps the occasional flower sitting on top of some grass. I'm wondering if these need to be completely made out of rock, or if perhaps they are hard-packed dirt. Hard-packed dirt could be interesting, because then we could have a mole-like creature. Who is digging all of these holes. That could be an idea. I like the aesthetic idea of having it be rocks, but it might work better with hard-packed dirt. I'm just wondering, if it was hard-packed dirt, how would it hold its round shape like this? Because I'm pretty sure grass, while hilly, is usually flat and not extremely round like this because rain and erosion and water eventually wear it down to the point that it's more on the flat side. So in order to have void things, we need something that resists this wear. I mean, there's no reason why we can't have a mole-like creature that's digging these holes. He just needs to be able to dig through stone. So he should have claws of steel. Nothing is stopping us from doing that. He could be the cutest little guy with the most terrifying claws. Tis fun. Could be interesting. I think part of this concept for the environment comes from I support steel-clawed giant mole. Fantastic. I'm glad we're on the side of steel-clawed giant mole. You know? I think we've reached a point where we need to Google something because now I'm intrigued. Because things build their creatures build the environment too, and usually they evolve along with the environment. So, what animal has the strongest claws? Crab? I don't think the AI overview knows what that's not exactly what I want. Sharpest claw. These are all sharpest. I want strongest. What animal is gonna brute force stone? Just want to know. Is there an animal that can claw through stone? Dig through rock? Sure, rock. Oh, intriguing. Do any animals burrow through rock? There are 6 species of bee that burrow into sandstone. Padox? What is that? I need to know. I'll put the animal into the chat so you can look him up yourself. Um, what is this thing? I need to know. Huh? Oh, is this a type of mussel? Oh, type of mollusk can bore into stone. Prairie dogs can. Huh? Prairie dogs can dig through concrete? I did not know this. Those cute little guys? Okay. Okay, so it is highly probable that we can have a mole like creature that can dig through stone. I think this is great. I think we're thriving here. Okay, so prairie dog digging through concrete. Materials such as concrete, pavement, pavers, and rock are effective in impeding prairie dogs from digging. Well, that does not sound right. What if I want them to dig through the concrete? All of them are talking. Where did this random Reddit person get their information on prairie dogs can dig through concrete? I'm looking for sources here. I guess it doesn't have. I can look that up later, but it can be whatever I want. And I say my random mole creatures can dig through stone. And because there's so much stone in this area, and they want it to live here, because they get less competition for living in the rocky areas, they decided to live here instead of living in a more forested area. See, this is why we need. I maybe should have focused on the environment first over the creatures, because I did do a creature design stream, which was fun. But at a certain point, you do need to know what environment the creature's going to be living in for it to be realistic. Maybe some water? In the crevices? Crackling along. These rocky, rolly hills. Okay, so we have moles. What kind of plants would live here? Probably plants that don't need to grow in a bunch of soil, because soil's not freely available here. I'm thinking maybe mushrooms if they're stubborn enough. Could mushrooms live here? There's a lot I don't know about things. I feel like we're going to be doing a lot of research in this stream. Which isn't necessarily bad. Just might not be the most interesting thing for you to watch, because I could display a small screen showing Google so that you know what I'm doing. Sure. Can add another display. Window capture. We can duplicate this one. Can I duplicate that? Weedy types of plants could live there. Definitely that. I was wondering if maybe ivy would work too. I don't know if visually ivy is what I want to go for. But it's certainly a thing that could work. That's the wrong thing. Okay. Window capture. Web browsing. We're naming the browsing. Okay, and then we'll select that, make him smaller. Make him much smaller. Can put him here. Sure, alright. Make sure it's below the PNG tuber so I don't accidentally block him. Okay. Now if I'm searching something up, you'll be able to see. I mean, if ivy can grow on a stone wall, then probably also just rocks, yeah. Yeah, I think it would. Guess we can draw it out to see if I like the look of ivy. I'm going to be eating the ivy too, because ivy tends to take over when it's not being eaten. So unless I want like a really covered rock face, I'll probably need something that eats ivy. Maybe I can have a species of goat? Because goats usually live in mountains, and they're very good at jumping around and doing things. So maybe a species like a goat could live here as well? That could be cute. Drawing out some ivy. guess the real question is ivy, like, native to the... Is there an ivy that's native to America? Because ideally this... Maybe it doesn't matter? Perhaps it doesn't. Yeah. Ivy works good here. And then we can have goat-like creatures who bounce around on the rocks. We need to design a goat-like creature. I think we need a better silhouette than that. Hold on. I can do better than that. Zoom in. I think they're quite stocky. Longish legs. Horns. Little fluffy chin. Yeah. What a cutie patootie. Won't be the final design, but something to consider. So we got goat-like creatures that will eat the ivy. And we got mole creatures that are gonna dig holes in the stone. What else could we do? There'll probably be some sort of bird that lives here. That would make sense. If we have a type of bird, we would probably also have a creature that eats the bird eggs. This down real quick. Okay. Because we have a decent amount started here. Where the heck is that notebook? Put it. Where did I place the notebook? I need the old notebook. I placed it in a different pocket? I don't know why it would do that. There it is. It was just somewhere else. Somewhere I wasn't expecting. It was in the computer pocket. Forgot I placed it there. Okay. Let's write down some of the stuff that we've been talking about. So, rocky, rolling hills. a biome of large boulder rocks that have been worn away by rain. To make smooth faces. Specifically smooth round faces. Moss and ivy grow on the rocks. Mole-like creatures dig holes through the rocks. Goats live on top of the rocks. And eat the ivy. Birds that probably live on the taller rocks. Is similar to the birds that camouflage and look like moss. Moss birds. That is how I'm noting it down in the notebook. Moss birds. Birds that live on the taller... I did not finish that sentence. Taller rocks. Moss birds. Okay. So we got moss and ivy grow on the rocks. Mole creatures dig holes through the rocks. Goats live on top of the rocks and eat the ivy. Birds live on the rocks. They all live on the rocks. They're one with the rocks. Everyone. Two concurrent rivers. Oh, fun. Okay. Any other ideas for creatures? We probably need something that hunts the goats. Something that hunts the goats. And we need something that hunts the moles. They might be the same something. Something that eats the bird eggs. Do we want any flowers here? Maybe it's like flowering ivy? Oh, hi Ruth. Well, welcome to the stream, even if you can't join for long. We're designing an environment for when it rains. Currently, we're doing the rolly, rocky hills, coming up with some creatures that live here. So we got some giant mole creatures that dig holes in the rocks. And then we got some goat creatures that jump along. And birds that will probably live on the taller rocks and camouflage to look like moss. And we need something that hunts the goats. I wrote goats twice. Moles. We need something that hunts the moles, something that hunts the goats, and then something that eats the bird eggs. I wonder if we also need a flower of some sort. Perhaps usually flowers are for the production of fruit. So I don't know if we want like a fruit. Maybe there's some hardy bushes. Hardy bushes that live in some of the cracks made by the mole creatures. Because I'm sure breaking up the stone and the dead vegetation material would create some dirt that's lying around. So while it might be shallow, could it be enough for some sort of bush that has some berries on it? That could be fun. Bush with berries. Lives in dirt that's made from broken up rock. And dead plant matter. Cool, awesome. Do we have any names for the animals? No, because we're focusing on the environments, but usually environments kind of inspire different creatures, so I wanted to just name some creatures. Not that we're designing them at the moment, just giving some idea. I'm noting things down in a notebook. Perhaps doodle a different angle to see if I come up with any other things? Sounds like a good idea. There's the pen. Let's draw a new angle. I think it would be fun if some areas there was still water running through. We can have rocks, water. And I don't think we'd be able to get a bunch of fish. But maybe some lizards? Salamanders? Ooh, salamanders could be good. I guess we could have tiny fish. Tiny fish could be fun. Like little minnows, but permanently minnows. Lots of rocks. I don't know what the scale on this is, though. Which is not quite helpful. I do like the idea of little fish, though. Little fish and salamanders. Maybe some frogs, too. Just hanging out there. Little fish would be cute. Yeah, yeah. We can do a little fish. Okay, so we have little fish, salamander. I'm gonna color this a bit. so I can get a better idea of the typography. Not typography. What is it called? There's the levels of... What is that called? What is that kind of map called? I'm Googling it. We're Googling it. What maps are called? That's not getting... No, it was typography. Topography. There we go. I was close. I was just doing type instead of topography. There we go. Okay. Let's color this in a bit. Do I want these? I'm thinking these stones are going to be like a warm tone. Warm gray. I almost spelled that. I wanted the pastel brush. There we go. Okay. It would not be a Alyssa stream without some sort of Google search. I have a thirst for knowledge, and it must be satiated. Thirst. So we got these rocks. Put moss on top of some of them. Amount of algae growing on the sides of these rocks based on where it's located with the water. So we have algae on the sides. Moss on the top. Tiny little fish. What else? What else could we do? Fleshing out on this one, because I really like this idea for the biome. So it's really lovely that we could just flesh it out and make it come to life figuratively. Okay, so then moss. We can draw moss. Lightly darker moss. Need to add some brighter green sprigs to this, because sometimes moss is fun like that. Though it could be fun to add some extreme lighting into this. I like a good mossy rock. I finished the sushi cats and uploaded them. Ah, alright. Yeah, I saw that. I was looking at on Pinterest and I saw that you had uploaded those. I don't know if you saw, but I messaged you back with the sushi cat that I had worked on. Okay. You need a little bit of algae. And to the sides of the rocks that are closest to the water. Your sushi cats were really cute, by the way. I really like how you ideated on them. You had some good ideas with that. Just add in the algae. And we can add in the water. I'm thinking before we add the highlights, it'll be pretty dark. Dark, maybe almost black? Might need to make the shadowing on some of the rocks a bit more dramatic. I can't wait to add the highlights. Just make things pop. Just very quickly deepening some of the shadows around the rocks. That way it's more obvious the depth of some of them. Hello, Bill. Welcome to the stream. We are working on some environmental designs for my story When It Rains. Currently, we're doing a top-down view of an area I'm calling the Rocky Rolling Hills. Rolling Hills? It's essentially an area of rock that has been sitting out for a while. Smoothed down, kind of like river stones, but they're bigger. And we have some mole-like creatures that can dig through the stones and create holes in them. Got a lot more into the rendering than I thought I was going to. I didn't expect that voice. I don't know why I expected you to sound like a camp counselor. Really? I sound like to you. I am curious. I'm also curious where you got camp counselor from. Well, I would say camp counselors sound like peppy individuals that also have a bit of their life just sucked away. How do you even describe that? Infinite cheer, but there's something wrong with it. we'll do a little bit of vivid light just for my amusement. I don't know. Dang. I guess I'll never know what I sound like. That might be a bit too white. Yes. Let's make this bigger. My computer is absolutely loving what I'm doing right now. He's like, why are we working hard? He's breathing. I might have to actually erase some of that. Just for the sake of rock being covered by rock. Well, if I can use orange there, so we'll use something else. Perhaps do patches of vivid light and then overlay? Overlay might be the move. Just smudge in some of those areas. How old is my computer? Not old at all. I'm being very dramatic with him. He's a beefy computer. I did not personally build him, but I made sure, like, me and my dad changed out the RAM on it. So we bought it with 32 gigabytes of RAM. No, wait, we bought it with 8 gigabytes of RAM. And then we replaced it, and I got 64 gigabytes of RAM. So my computer can definitely handle it. He's just being dramatic sometimes with the... just a bit dramatic with the fan is all. I wonder if there's a limit that I need to be aware of with my computer. Or at least set forced limit on how many gigabytes Photoshop can actually use. As for how old my computer is, I bought it last year. Sometime I wanna say July? July sounds right. July or August? Actually, probably August or September, because I moved. Yeah, that sounds right. Probably August. I would have to go look back at my email receipts of it to be completely sure. But maybe for a computer that's like kind of, it's certainly not old. He just has to think sometimes, all. I probably got a bit too much into the rendering, but as long as we're having fun, that is okay. putting an overlay layer on top of the vivid light layer. I want him to glow. Be as dramatic as he wants. Am I perhaps doing too much? Mayhaps. Do you play Stardew Valley? You seem like you would. I mean that as a compliment, by the way. I have played Stardew Valley. My favorite thing to do in that game is to fish. I'm very good at fishing in that game. I think that's pretty good. You seem to like fish. just a little bit. How could you tell? What? Me liking fish? Seems out of character for me. Fish. But I do like the vibe of fish. They're funky little guys. And I like that about them. Um, I accidentally pulled out my headphone jack. With the way it's sitting and the length of the cord, it's very easy to do. Favorite type of fish? That is a good question. What is my favorite type of fish? I'd probably go with whale shark's pretty good. That's a pretty good fish. I'm going with just in general and not to eat because I don't like eating fish. So, favorite fish to look at is a whale shark. Whale sharks are pretty nice. Regularly eating whale sharks. Yeah, I am the problem actually. I'm the problem. Did you know that they can use satellites to track whale shark positionings? Because if they're dots, they look close enough to stars that they can use the telescopes to actually find whale sharks in the ocean. I think that's so fun. I need to check that because that is a really old fact that I memorized and that might be wrong. I think I got it from like a Nat Geographic magazine. Finding whale sharks with telescopes. Satellites. Satellites. Satellite tag. Okay. That's finding whale sharks with their spot patterns. It's gonna be about identifying, isn't it? Yep. In 1995, Norman had an idea to. Ooh, that sounds good. How a NASA algorithm is helping to track endangered whale sharks and changing citizen science. They're the biggest fish in the ocean. Fantastic. Um, we've proven that these markings on the skin of sharks are unique to each individual, like a fingerprint. We can. Goodbye, Ruth. Have a good rest of whatever you're doing. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the art. Base database has an essential tool. Okay. Cool. Are we gonna get into tracking them? Okay. I don't think I've read that closely enough to really see where a NASA algorithm is helping track the fish, but I'll have to fact check my an astronomical pattern matching algorithm. We're going down the rabbit hole. We need to stop. This environment can't even support whale sharks, so we have to do something else. Okay, back over to what we were originally doing, which was rocks. So we just need to add to it streams, support tiny fish and salamanders. What else? Algae on the sides of rocks. The goats are probably gonna have to stick onto the side on the tops of rocks, because if they get stuck at the bottom, may have a hard time getting out if the algae is too slippery. I guess that depends on how high the algae actually goes. Could not go up that high. I think overall we have the general idea for the environment. And I think from here it's just creature design. Because there might be some other plants and stuff that we would get into. But I think we have enough of the environment designed at the moment that we could move on to a different one. Now, question is, do we want to focus on an entirely new environment, like we craft it completely new, or do we want to do an environment, build off of an environment that I've already started? So the next environment that I have is the Twisty Trees. For a reminder, I think you specifically, Bill, weren't here for it when I was describing it, but it's essentially trees that are competing for as much light as possible, and that they're like twisting and growing around each other and making a very, well, that's precarious. Sorry, I was explaining, and one of my note cards is threatening to fall out of my storyboard panel. Sorry about that. Um, I accidentally unplugged my headphones again. I guess we're no. Uh, dang it! It fell. Oh, that wasn't great. Okay. Eeh. I think I need a headphone extender or something because this is just ridiculous. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. You would laugh at me if you could see what I'm doing right now. Maybe I'll doodle it for you. This is precarious. Eeh. Where did the pin go? Did I lose the pin? I've already lost one. I can't lose it again. Ugh. Ah, there it is. It was behind my mug. Okay. That fell out. That's okay because I finished the animatic anyway for the animation that I'm working on, so I don't need it anymore. It was just up. And since it fell, I think that's where it's gonna. I'll just pick it up later. I'll just pack it up and put it away, and it's fine. Let me turn the music back on because I think that turned off when I accidentally unplugged my headphones, which is oh so kind of him. Okay. Mm. I'll draw the position that I was in, so you can better understand what the heck I was doing. Because I was being very silly. So this is my desk, right? It's an IKEA desk with a glass top. And then I have my monitors set up here. And behind the monitor, I have a canvas painting. And on top of the canvas painting, I had my storyboard sitting behind it. And one of the pins fell down, so what I was trying to do was put it back up. But it didn't help that my chair spins and rolls. So I was standing like this, headphones like this, cord not long enough, so then I'm dying over here. Trying to put something back in place. Do you paint like you draw? Uh, let me think about that. I try and paint with shapes. And I try and draw with shapes. So I like to think that I draw similar. I do it similarly, but I'm sure I do it slightly differently, just based on the medium. It probably didn't help that I'm also wearing a skirt. So that made it even more awkward. And then the storyboard was starting to fall down. Yeah, I think that was essentially how I was. How I was. Overall, very silly. Why I did it that way? We shall never know. Actually, it was mostly just because my headphone cords were too short to accommodate the position I was trying to stand in. Fun. Okay, do we have a vote? Entirely new environment or twisty trees? I could go for either. The gap between me talking and you guys responding is entirely new. All right, sounds good. I think what we're gonna do to start is just, I'm trying to find a place to put my tablet so that I can just use my keyboard. I think we'll switch over to, I want to see what your imagination is capable when pushed to the brink. All right, fair enough. Let's make that bit bigger so that you guys can actually see what I'm doing. And then we can go over here. I like using Pinterest, so we'll go over there first and look up some landscapes to just get some ideas. This won't be what it looks like necessarily, just grabbing some ideas. So we already have something that's kind of, I have willow trees and some, I guess we could go over what I have so then we can move on to something new. Do I have anything new for environments saved in here? Or is this all old stuff? Might be old stuff. Okay. We'll go back over to landscapes. Occasionally, but I mostly use it for inspiration builds. Like, I use it as a way to build backgrounds. But then also I got into Blender, so I didn't necessarily need to do that as much anymore. I've played it a tiny bit. Not as much as my friend Jenica, though. Oh, this is fun. That environment's really silly. The golds and the reds and the purples. That's fun. That's really fun. Ooh. Where is it? Where's story concepts? Where are you? There we go. I love how much you can play around with color in drawing. Emphasize some of the small color details that you see. I think that's really fun. I guess we can use this as a jumping off point for it. Oh, what is this? This is fun. Let's save that as well. Story concepts when it rains. Anything else that I should grab while I am here? I really like this idea of just like pocket little ponds. That is really fun. So I think we'll go off of those three and go from there. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so freestanding water, small bits, golds and reds, and things that are very reflective. I like it. Okay. This could definitely lead into more of the. This could be a flat area, and then it leads into the more hilly areas where the willow trees are starting to take over. Let me reveal Photoshop again because I'm gonna move over that way. Start sketching again. We'll draw like a little. I'm just rearranging things on my monitor so I can see everything. Okay. I think the sequence of events is we have flat pond areas with golden and purple flowers. And it starts getting more hilly. I might need to make my little map a bit smaller. We add the willow trees in. I have grasses and flowers, and I can blend the flowers so it's more of the purple and red flowers, but it starts getting more multicolored as we move closer. Let me make this smaller. Then we can have our and then we can have our rocky rolling hills and have it transition over that to that with smaller trickles of water. Ooh. Yes. I believe that is what I want. Yeah, I think that's how I'll want it to transition. Transition and how it's like all of that's draining. It's probably being separated by the rocks a lot. There could be a... There could be... Hold on. Wait. Okay, so I put you in timeout because you were spamming the chat a lot with a lot of different things. If you want to be watching the stuff, that is fine. If you want to participate in chat, you need to do it slowly and with meaningful messages, okay? I put you in timeout for a half an hour, and we'll go from there. Not you. Bill, you're fine. There was another person who is spamming the chat. I cannot pronounce their name because it's in a different language. You're fine, Bill. We're having a great, lovely time. Other person, I don't know what quite they were doing, but I don't think was helpful. Out of curiosity, can you see that I deleted their messages, or does it just disappear for you? I see. Probably for the best. Okay, so I think it'd be really fun if the rocks had a lake point where all of the water is collecting and pooling. So I think topography wise, it would slowly be going down, and then it would lead to this lake. I know we went back over to the Rocky Hills, but we got more lore for it, and I think that's fun. Cool. Yeah, there was another person in the chat, and I could not pronounce their name, but they were being a little bit disruptive, so I put them in timeout. If they want to participate later in the discussion in a helpful, meaningful manner, I am completely up for that, but I think it was a spam account, just based on how they were reacting. Yeah, I think maybe they just wanted attention. Yeah. Leading to Big Lake. Oh! With there being a lake and the minnow. That could make sense, because we could have bigger fish living in this lake. And then the minnows can live in all of the tiny streams. Because it's probably safer for them to live in tiny streams. The environment just puzzles itself together. Okay, that's fun. Water coming from, though? It could be from rain. They get a decent amount of rainfall. There could be a mountain source. Could have a mountain environment. Be quite old mountains just to mirror the Appalachian Mountains. Appalachian Mountains. We could have some water sources from there. Since they're old, they probably wouldn't be very tall. I think with the Appalachian Mountains, there's only bits of it that don't have trees. I think every other bit has trees. I think we have some rivers and streams coming from the mountain. Some just flat pools. You can have some of the hills with our willow tree there. I'm just trying to bring some sense into the environment. I would love to see your face at an aquarium. They might have they might have enough fish for you. I mean, I do enjoy a good aquarium. I think the last time I went to a good aquarium, though, that was forever ago. I think I was like 8 or something when I went to Maine for a trip. It's... I think it's been a bit since I've been to an actual aquarium. The closest I got was a like discovery center that also had some fish. Just wasn't enough though. I just really like water. I think water's great. And then fish live in the water, so then they get special water privileges. willow trees, mountains, grasses, and flowers. Fantastic. I could probably render that out a bit. That could be fun. Special water privileges. You mean swimming? Maybe. Maybe. I just think it's neat. I just think it's fun. New group familiar, and then we can just do some rough coloring. I say that as if I'm not going to go overboard with the coloring. I probably will. It happens. It just happens sometimes. Peter's being dramatic again. It's like I'm doing something difficult. How dare you start running the fan once while I'm forcing you to stream and also handle an art program, and how dare? How dare? I want that more saturated. There we go. Make that a bit more green as we go down the mountain. Should set that layer into multiply so I stop. So the line art acts like line art. I hate when you need to sneeze and then you think about it too hard, so then you don't, because you thought about it too much, so then you don't sneeze. I just hate that. I think we need a little bit of more yellow here. Simulate some of the plants that are around. The mountain looks bald. Why do you gotta be bald? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? I say that as if I didn't make the mountain bald. I didn't make the mountain bald. It's not my fault. He came like that. It's just how he was. I would never make the mountain bald. How dare you insinuate that I would? That seems like an un-Alyssa thing to do. That is the worst. I'm gonna assume you're agreeing with me about sneezing. Atmospheric perspective. There we go. Words. Atmospheric perspective, my beloved. balding is natural. It is natural. I would never insinuate otherwise. That mountain is completely bald for natural reasons. There's nothing I did that specifically made him bald. Nothing whatsoever. I think willow trees have more of a silvery bark. Yeah. Definitely need to get some yellow flowers in there. Golden flowers. I have a lot of green. Too much green. Needs to be broken up. Can also add the purples. Wow. It's amazing. Got the oranges. Should have drawn the river already, but we'll live with our mistakes and just draw it on top. It's fine. Everything's fine. I should have also drawn the clouds earlier. That one's on me, though. Add some white to make the clouds fluffy and dimensional. Started reading a book where it was talking about how plants take advantage of us. In the sense that they know what they're doing. Like, yeah, we're planting the plants. The plants wanted us to plant them, though. So they made us want to plant them. With, like, potatoes being so gosh darn tasty. That's why we plant them all the time. Because they're gosh darn tasty. Just replicating the reflection. Adding some depth to our river. I'll add some reflections later. There's water. I think humans cultivated potatoes. See, but if potatoes weren't so good, we wouldn't have continued cultivating them. Because there are plants that have resisted our efforts to cultivate them. Oak trees, we tried to do something with those, but the acorns remain bitter and unpalatable. So if a plant doesn't want to be cultivated, he won't let you. That was the argument of the book anyway. I'm not too far into it yet. I don't know all of the exact sciences they're talking about. That's the main crux of the book. Plants rely on, we rely on plants, and plants rely on us, and plants maybe manipulate us slightly, like bumblebees. We're like bumblebees, but with potatoes. We couldn't resist the tasty spuds. I think maybe I want up the saturation slightly. Yeah. Then we can do a multiply layer. Just full on committing and starting to render out things. Because why not? Rendering's fun. It is on multiply. I feel like the multiply works differently on Procreate versus Photoshop, because this isn't reacting the same. Maybe it's color burn I want? And we can just lower the fill. Just erase some of the multiply for some texture. Overlay. Just because I think overlay's fun. Yes. This is what I want. pretty fun. It makes the image look so sunny. I know, overlay is such a magical, like, I like flicking on and off the layer just to see how much it changes. You cannot underestimate the power of blending layers. Blending layers are something else. They just add to the piece in such a great way. Alright. Should I continue going? I think we've done a decent amount of work in this. Let's review what we've got. Mole creature, some sketching of the rocky. Got some nice plain view with goats. Top-down view with water trickling through the rocks. Me being awkward. The transition of the biomes. Lake for the fish. And then this. I think we have a good amount done today. I think the next thing I need to do is build creature designs for the Rocky Rolly Hills. And I might need to do some more research, like in-depth research and not just quick Google searches for some of the environments that I've designed here. So I think we'll call this good for the day. Let me save this. I haven't saved it yet, which is bad of me. I should have saved earlier. Save this in when it rains. And yeah, have a good rest of your night, and I hope you have fun doing whatever you are doing. I will see you all next week. Alright, goodbye.